So guys, a couple of days ago, Jim Ryan, one of the CEOs with Sony, had a statement that I covered that I thought was a little suspect. What Mr. Ryan said was, the PlayStation 5 has the strongest launch lineup ever. He said, quote, "It was very nice to be able to demonstrate that again here Worldwide Studios is excelling, and the lineup of exclusive games either at launch or in the launch window is by far the strongest that we've ever had on any new console." Now that got me thinking, because the PlayStation 5's launch lineups, it's not that good. It's pretty thin as far as I can tell. So it got me thinking, how bad were the launches of the previous PlayStation titles in order for that to be true? So I started Googling, I was pulling up Wikipedia and so forth, finding, the list of every game's launch, titles, every system's launch titles. And then I discovered that someone on Kotaku had already done the legwork for this. So Tegan Jones on Kotaku Australia, she already did the work here. So we're just going to look at her article and we're going to base this sort of speculation off of that. So we're going to go through system by system, PS1, or just PS, because we didn't call it the PlayStation 1, really, back then. PlayStation 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And we're going to see what we think is the strongest launch lineup. Now, this is going to be highly subjective, okay? There's going to be games you are going to like and I'm not going to like, and vice versa. This is my opinion. So with that being said, let's roll on, let's have a little bit of fun, and let's look at the launch lineups for the PlayStations of old. Ye olden PlayStations. So we're going to look at the USA here. PlayStation 1 launch date was September 9th, 1995. And the launch titles were as follows: Air Combat, Battle Arena Toshinden, ESPN Extreme Games, Kiliak, The DNA Imperative, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Power Serve 3D Tennis, The Raiden Project, Rayman, Ridge Racer, Street Fighter the Movie, and Total Eclipse Turbo. At first glance, I am not wildly impressed. So, just games I can remember off the top of my head. Keep in mind, September 9th of 1995, I was like 6. Okay, so, fair warning there. But games I'm aware of, games I can recall in some regard. Ridge Racer was pretty sick. Rayman, still a fan of Rayman. That's good. Now, Street Fighter the Movie. I'm not a big Street Fighter guy. I guess it's Street Fighter the Movie, the game. I don't know if that was... I feel like I've heard that this was bad. I'm not a big fighting game person, right? Received mixed to negative reviews. Okay, I'm remembering this correctly. That was not a well-received game, so we're going to move on from that. Air Combat was like a flight sim game. I think it was okay. Battle Arena Toshinden. This is an arena fighter. All right. Reception was pretty good. Okay, so Battle Arena Toshinden. Do I remember this game? If I see it, will I remember it? I do. This is like a virtual fighter kind of. Okay, I think I remember that game. ESPN Extreme Games. Well, this looks like shit. This looks fucking terrible. Oh man. Okay. Not super duper impressed there. Not a lot of heavy hitters here, guys. Not a lot of games that you'd look at and say system seller. Like where a lot of people like, man, I got to get that Total Eclipse Turbo. That's the shit. That's what I got to play. All right, let's move on to the PS DOS. In Japan, this was October 26th, 2000. A massive list. A really long list of games. Okay, Armored Core 2. People like that. Dynasty Warriors 2. People like that, I think. Dead or Alive 2. That's a game that I'm aware of. More ESPN Extreme Games. I don't know what's going on here with that relationship. Eternal Ring, Evergrace, Fantavision. Fantavision? I think I remember Fantavision. Yeah, it was like a... Okay, yeah, I remember Fantavision. Gun, Griffin, Blaze, Kessen, Madden. A lot of these just sound like made-up things to me. A New Ridge Racer. Smuggler's Run. Unreal Tournament, Time Splitters. Time Splitters was a banger. That was awesome. Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. That was fun. How much deeper do we need to dig here? This is a lot of games. And there's already more games on there that maybe this is just age thing, right? But these are games that I can recall and that I can recall liking. What is Evergrace? I have absolutely no recollection of that game ever existing. Eternal Ring. Well, this looks like Skyrim before Skyrim or something, right? He's killing fish monsters. Was this game well received? Moderately. Huh. Alright, so PS1 does not have the strongest lineup in PlayStation history. PS2 clearly taking the lead there. I don't think anyone's really going to argue with that. Now, PS3 was when I got really back into games again. I played games a little bit. I played SNES, and I played some PlayStation, Crash Bandicoot, so forth and so on, Resident Evil. Didn't really have the PS2. Played my friend's PS2. I had a GameCube, so I wasn't a big PS2 guy. Didn't really play my GameCube that much. But the PS3 came along, and I got hyped up, and I waited until I could afford it because I was poor, and I had to buy it secondhand off of like maybe Craigslist or something. And that's where I jumped back in. So let's look at the PS3's launch lineup, which I don't think is going to be that strong either. Okay, so Blazing Angels, I remember that. That was an okay game. Call of Duty 3, that was a pretty big one. That's a pretty big one. Genji Days of the Blade. Now that sounds familiar to me, but I'm having a hard time placing it. Not super well received. Will I recognize it in action? Genji. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think I remember this. I don't think I remember being super pumped about it, though. Madden 2007, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, new sports games here across the board. Resistance Fall of Man. What a hidden gem the Resistance franchise was for PlayStation. No one talks about Resistance. All of those games were good. Even the PSP versions were pretty darn good. Tony Hawk's Project 8 was not super well received in the THPS fans, but it's there. Ridge Racer 7, Untold Legends. So way fewer PS3 games versus PS2 games. And because of that, I think it's going to be hard for me to say. There's a lot of games here. But of games that I give two shits about, I would have been playing Madden back then, for sure. Would have played Dynasty Warriors, would have been something I would play. Maybe Ridge Racer. Maybe Ready to Rumble Round 2. Time Splitters, definitely. Unreal Tournament, definitely. Handful of games there. Then going back to the PS3. Definitely played COD. Definitely played Resistance. PS2 probably had the better launch lineup there. I think it's hard to argue that the PS3 with its much fewer games actually did have a stronger lineup than the PS2 that appeared to have 37 games at launch. Even if a lot of them weren't great, it's a lot of games to launch with. All right, now the PS4 is probably the actual console that I played more than any console in my entire life. All my friends had one, so that's just where we were. We played a lot of PlayStation 4. And I think it had a pretty good launch lineup. Let's take a look. All right, Angry Birds Star Wars. I had totally forgotten that was even a thing that was on the PS4. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yes, good game. Battlefield 4. Come on. Battlefield 4 was so good. 1,000 hours or more into that game. Fantastic. Call of Duty Ghosts was not a great Call of Duty game, but it was there and it was pretty good. People love FIFA. Injustice Gods Among Us. I didn't play. A lot of people seemed to like that game. Seemed okay. Just Dance. They keep making it. It's got to be something going on correct over there. Killzone Shadowfall. That was a good game. Killzone's a very underrated franchise, and Shadowfall was gorgeous. Knack. You got Knack. You got a little guy made out of little things. Little rocks and balls and shit. Who doesn't want that? Lego Marvel Superheroes. That's a good game. Pretty fun. Madden 25. Madden games have been kind of trending downward for many years now, but Madden's still pretty cool. Need for Speed Rivals was okay. Warframe is still going. I still know people playing that game. PS4, to me, clearly has the strongest lineup in PlayStation history. There's going to be some people that are going to disagree with me. I'm sure of that. But for me, PS4 is obviously the best lineup of high caliber games. Talking about exclusives, we're just talking about what games you can play on the system when it launched. All right, now this is the important one. PlayStation 5, the strongest launch lineup ever. Let's look at it. We're going to have to speculate some here because a lot of these games aren't out yet. But maybe. Let's dig in. Let's keep an open mind here. All right, so Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks awesome. I love the art style. I love the direction of what they're doing with the gameplay. It looks brutal. It looks beautiful. I love the sort of base building things that they're doing. This is going to be the first Assassin's Creed game in a long time that I might actually want to play. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. Not much as far as I go, but some people like it. Destiny 2 is a port. That's cool. Cool for those people still playing Destiny. Godfall is one of those games that, for whatever reason, I just can't get into the... It just doesn't pull me in. It's pretty. It looks cool, I guess. Hopefully, a lot of people are really excited about it. But I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the story is. I don't know why. Maybe I just need to hear more about it, maybe. Fortnite. Great. Maneater, I'm pretty sure, is a PC game. Yeah, it's a PC game where you're a shark. That's cool. Didn't know that was coming. Observer System Redux. Okay, I've seen that game on PC as well. It's actually quite well received. That's interesting. That's coming. Watchdog Legions looks cool. That's a game that a lot of people have enjoyed the Watchdog series, and it seems to be getting better as it goes along. Then as far as first-party stuff, you've got Astro's Playroom, which, I'm sorry to be disrespectful, but who gives a shit? Who cares? Demon Souls looks cool. I want to try out this remaster. It might be a good way for me to try the game for the first time. I have not played the Souls games, Bloodborne, any of them, even though a ton of people have said, you like really hard platformers, really unforgiving games. You should try this. I probably should try it. Destruction All-Stars is interesting. It's one that I was a big Rocket League fan, and this game looks like it's trying to seize on that in some way, but I'm just not convinced that I care. For me, Rocket League was fun because it was like a sport. This is more about, it seems like just killing each other, just destroying each other's vehicles and killing each other. That was my least favorite part of Rocket League was smashing into each other. I wanted to hit the ball and score goals, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be okay with it once I get it, in hand. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales looks great. It will be on PlayStation 4 as well, but it does look great. Sackboy: A Big Adventure, there's a market there for that game. People are going to like it too. Then you get this whole slew of games you're going to be able to download with PlayStation Plus. I don't know if I should count that though. Those are not PlayStation 5 games. I'm not going to count that. That seems unfair. If we're counting that, then when we look at Xbox's launch titles and they've got 300 launch titles or some stupid amount of games, that's not... Those are old games. Not that they're bad, but those are not PlayStation 5 games. So for me, the question is, does PlayStation 5 have a better lineup than PlayStation 4? How many of these do I get excited about? Okay, we got 1. We got 2. 3. Is Cyberpunk and Call of Duty, are they launch titles? I mean, it's a day later and it's a week later. I can't count those. I've not been counting that for other consoles, so I can't count those. 3. We have 3 games that I care anything about. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, it's close though, because some of these PS4 games I wasn't as jazzed about as some of these PS5 games. Any of these I'm marking here, I'm actually really into. Whereas these are some that I'm like, no. It's close. It is 13. Versus, you've got 16 games versus 13 games. It is really close. Look, of course this guy's going to come out and say, hey, it's the best lineup in history. He's not going to come out and say, it's our second best lineup in history. But for me, my opinion, I think the PlayStation 4 had a stronger launch lineup than the PlayStation 5. So I'm sitting here editing this PlayStation launch titles video, and as I'm going through the PS4 ones, I realized that on the list from Kotaku, they didn't mention Resogun. And so I did some Googling real quick and determined that Resogun launched on November 15th, 2013. PlayStation 4 launched on the same day. I don't know if that was just an omission. Hopefully that's the only thing that was missed in that list. I'd really hate to think that I hitched my horse to the wrong post for this video. But if you add Resogun into the PlayStation 4's launch titles, I think it puts it, for me, way over the top of PlayStation 5. Resogun was immaculate. One of the greatest puzzly, old school shooter games out there, bullet hell style games. Good God, what a game. Now, if we are allowed to include the list of games included in the PlayStation Plus collection, that's some really good stuff. But then I have to ask, will you allow me the same ability with the Xbox? Because I don't think that that's fair for one and not the other. Will you allow games that will be coming out shortly after the launch? Call of Duty, Cyberpunk. If the answer is yes, then the PlayStation 5 indeed does have the best launch window games. And actually, if you look at the guy's quote, that's actually kind of more what he said. He actually didn't say launch games. He said launch games and launch window games. So if that's what we're saying, I can defend that perspective. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments about which PlayStation home console had the best lineup, if the PS5 looks like it for you. I know a lot of you guys are really looking forward to the PS5. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments. And until my next video, please do stay nerdy, my friends. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a Scary If Literal member. You'll get access to a whole bunch of emoticons to use with live streams and a shout out on an upcoming video. Thanks as always for your continued support.